The Race and Postcast, in association with Paddy Power, they prize up all UK and Irish racing the night before.
Hello and welcome to the Postcast with me, Mark Story. I'm here with the three wise men, Frank Hickey from Paddy Power, David Jennings and Paul Keeley from the Racing Post. Hello, gents.
Hello, Mark.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm good. David, I'm going to come straight to you. You were at Leopardstown for the 4 days over Christmas. The Lexus Chase, it was a great finish, but was it a great race? What did we learn from that? And if you were Colin Tizard, would you be trembling in your boots at that result?
No, I'd be absolutely ecstatic, I think. It was a disappointing race, a disappointing result, I suppose, for a lot of people, and a disappointing race in many ways because I think it threw up more questions than answers. Starting with the fancied ones, Jack Adam, the vibes beforehand, while it was very strongly backed, Ruby had said the day before he thought that the John Durkin took quite a bit out of Jack Adam, and he didn't know whether it came too soon or not. And they seemed to be the vibes coming from the stable as well, even though it was so strongly backed. And it kind of ran like that as well. He was a little bit too keen early on and lost its pitch at a crucial time from the third last, maybe to the home turn, and then ran on again. I think he's probably better than that. I think he needs softer ground to be most effective. He doesn't look like a Gold Cup winner in waiting. And what's interesting is it seems now that the Ryanair has become a distinct possibility for Jack Adam. Just listening to a couple in the stable and stuff, it could be. And it could be the aim too for Valserlito now, even though I think he deserves another crack at 3 miles. He came there to win his race. It looked like he was a blatant non-stayer. But while Henry had a good last day, obviously with Petit Mouchoir, just a couple of his Henry de Bromheads weren't finishing out their races over the Christmas period for one reason or another. You stop the race 10 yards before the last fence, Valserlito wins it. He traded very short and running. As for the winner, Outlander, look, he's a good horse. I spoke to Gordon Elliott an hour after the race, and he said, this horse is not even close to Don Cossack. They're two completely different horses. Don Cossack is still top of his Gold Cup pecking order, and that tells you all you need to know, and he's 10 or 12 to 1 for the Gold Cup. So I think it threw up more questions than answers.
What's the news on Don Cossack, David?
Very good.
Yeah.
Very, very. Like, I was down in Gordon's the week before Christmas.
Yeah.
I've seen him. He looks terrific. I think they can't believe how well things have gone. I think they're still in shock at how swimmingly everything has gone. Dot Love and Kieran Murphy. Dot Love trained the Irish Grand National winner, Liberty Council, a few years ago, and she's done a lot of road work. They've done it properly. They haven't rushed it. They've really, been really patient. They didn't want to rush him back for Lexus or King George. They've been really patient, and it seems as if he's going to run in the Red Mills Chase in Gorham Park. So that will set him up for another crack at a Gold Cup. I think they're absolutely over the moon with him, to be honest.
All right, very interesting.
Frank, what prices for the Gold Cup? And what price Don Cossack?
Yeah, if you give me 1 second, I'll get them there for you. We are 11 to 10 Thistlecrack, 8 to 1 Native River, Don Cossack is 10s, Q-Card is 12s, Jack Adam, Coney Gree and Outlander 14s and 25 bar.
Paul, are you getting a strong view on this at the moment?
Yeah, it's funny. The King George is a funny race because Q-Card jumped terribly. I've got a theory about Q-Card nowadays. As he's got older, I think he's become more dependent on softer ground. And I just think he didn't enjoy it. You cannot, even given the way Thistlecrack won the race, you cannot rate it hugely highly, given how close, I think T for 2 is rated 153 or something. He's only beaten 4 or 5 lengths. Style of victory was just stunning. I mean, his heart in the mouth stuff when he takes off his fences, isn't it? Every single one of them, but he clears them with something to spare. I mean, he is a brilliant horse. I'm getting a little bit, it might be silly, but I'm wondering whether he's actually, if he turned up with soft ground Cheltenham, would he get 3 mile 2.5 furlongs? That'd be my question over him. But I thought he was a stupid price at 10 to 1 at the start of the season. Having not jumped to fence, he's now around about the even money mark, and that is not stupid.
No,
he is a potentially great horse, and I'd love to see him win it. But as a punter, I'm always looking to get these shorties beat, and I will definitely find something else to back.
Have you seen anything yet? You're thinking that's a contender?
Not much. Well, Native River is deceptively good, isn't it? Like, you know, it makes you wonder how he managed to get beat in the 4 miler, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
You know, but then again, Colin Tizard has said, you know, he thinks he's more of a flat track horse.
Yeah.
Mind you, Chepstow's not too flat, is
No,
it? So,
no,
you know,
not at all.
You know, so he's probably put that one to bed.
Did you have a bet in the Christmas hurdle?
And
Bring back.
the Ryanair, the 3 Marcus was out. No,
You backed a new one.
No, I meant I meant the other one. I meant the Christmas hurdle.
He meant the 3
Bring Mag, the squared financial Christmas hurdle.
I had a couple of quid on Snow Falcon, who didn't seem to run much of a race.
I did too.
Now, you know, I still maintain that Bring Mag is the most overrated horse in training.
Yeah.
I love the commentary where she stretched her unbeaten run to 1. That was fantastic. But you know, she's rated 154. She's beaten a horse rated 155 by a length, getting £7. Yeah. You can't rate it massively highly. I'd be staggered if she ran anywhere other than the Mare's hurdle, to be honest. Like, you know, and she wouldn't be a penalty kick for that with that was Jade in the race.
Frank, you've got some prizes, I think, on what race she goes in.
Yeah, she is 8-15 to run in the Stayers hurdle, 13-8 to run the Mare's hurdle, 16-1 champion hurdle,
Sorry,
and
she's
20.
13 to 8.
There is a price, lads.
She's 13
There you
to
go.
8 to run in the Mare's hurdle.
You found something there.
That's a 2 to 9 chance.
Absolutely.
I think she's an absolute certainty of running that. Get on to Paddy Power now. That price will not last.
DJ?
Oh, absolutely huge price. Like put it this way: she's 2-1 to win the race, and she's 13-8 to run in it. So work that one out.
Well, you seems like you worked it out. You're gonna, you know, that's the way you think she's gonna go. What did you think, David, of that performance? Did it tell you anything?
It's funny. I'm like Paul. I think she's. Well, I'm not as strong as an opinion as Paul. I do think she's a little bit overrated. I don't think she's the second coming like many people think she is.
No.
But the one thing I did think was I thought she looked all out to win that race. Now I know obviously he could have been, you know, filling me with shite and everything. But the one thing I did ask Ruby, and I was on my own asking him. I said, Ruby, was it tiredness or idling? And he said she doesn't do a tap when she gets to the front. He said she pricked her ears. She was just doing not a tap. There was plenty left. So that's quite interesting. And if you go back even to the Mare's hurdle at Cheltenham last year, she looked like she was going to win by 10 lengths, and I think she won by, 3 or 4. So she doesn't tend to win those type of hurdle races by a wide margin. It was the same at Ascot when she beat Jenny's Jewel. She looks like she's going to win by 10, 15 lengths, but she just doesn't. So maybe it is idling. I get the impression that Willie wants to run these horses in the race that they've got the most chance of winning, and the race that Vroom Mag has the most chance of winning is the Mare's hurdle, and that 13-8 is not going to last. I'd say by the time this postcast gets out, I'd say that will be shorter.
I think Paul's doing it now, aren't you, Paul?
Yeah, I'm smashing it now.
What about Thursday, David? The Petit Mouchoir's performance, you know, that was quite eye-catching, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. That's the way he needs to be ridden, and he's a guy. He just keeps going, and he's quite interesting now because if one of the I suppose the two main horses, one of the last two winners of the Champion Hurdle, if either Any Power or Faheen does come back to form and does run in the Champion Hurdle, they know that they're going to be taken on up front by Petit Mouchoir because that's what I remember. I put him up as my horse to follow last year for the season, Petit Mouchoir, and he was a little bit disappointing. Actually, to be honest, he was very disappointing throughout the year. But he ran a cracker in Aintree, and I remember talking to Patrick Mullins about him at the start of the year. And he rode him out at home and stuff, and he got the impression that he's an out-and-out 3-mile stay-in chaser for the future. That was his thinking. And I think that's what happened. I think even the way they rode him at Newcastle, the way they rode him at Leopardstown, they're riding him as a horse that really stays. And while he did accelerate after the second last, he's going to try and make the run in the Champion Hurdle, and he's going to go a serious lick to turn it into a proper test. And the way the race has turned out at the moment, like, he jumps better than Janwert. Janwert, you know, jumping is still a serious issue. Yeah. Like, the race is just completely up in the air. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Petit Mouchoir is not a little bit shorter because there's so many question marks. Like, there could be 5 runners in this race. Yeah. That's the long and the short of it. So I think Petit Mouchoir is probably a little bit overpriced still.
What did you make of Nichols Canyon? Because I smashed him at 25s for the Champion Hurdle about half an hour before the race yesterday. And, you know, I just think he's run so far below form and only just getting the better of Ivanovic Gorbatov. I mean, what was wrong with him that day?
He's one of the horses that I can never figure out. I think I've backed him 3 times in my life, and it's probably the 3 occasions he's been beaten. He's a funny horse. Perhaps he's better going right-handed, but then he's some great form going left-handed as well.
Exactly.
So I don't know. It's a funny one. I never thought he looked that happy, and did he sulk when he got taken on from the lead? But yet again, he won at Aintree when he was held up as a novice. So look, I honestly don't know, Paul.
Yeah, difficult one, isn't it?
The 3-mile novice chase, David. Our Duke just sort of scraped home there from Coney Island. I mean, is anything sort of getting you excited anti-post wise there, or is it just too early?
No, maybe Coney Island perhaps for the JLT or something like that, because he looked like he just didn't quite see it out as well as our Duke. Our Duke doesn't jump well enough to win an RSA, and he needs soft ground. It needs certainly a little bit of cut in the ground. He jumped poorly. Like, he must have some engine to win that race.
He's done really well then. Does he desperately need soft ground?
Oh, well, like, it wasn't too bad yesterday, but you'd just imagine come springtime it'll be a little bit quicker on the second day at Cheltenham. But Jessica Harrington, Robbie Power, they won that race back in 2010 with Boston's Angel, who did the double in the RSA as well. So they think the world of this horse. Like, they think he is a superstar, and he obviously works like a dream because when he's not jumping. But he is quite interesting, and so is the third horse, Disco, who Noel Meade has said for a long time he's the best horse he's had for a long time, and he was 20-1, but he ran a hell of a race. Like he ran with the choke out most of the way and jumped great after a few sticky mistakes early on, and I just wouldn't give up on Disco just yet.
And Alfredo Bowie bled, did he?
Bled badly.
Yeah,
bled badly.
Was it? Because I mean, it just stopped, didn't he? Straight away. Like, I thought he was a certainty, to be honest. I mean, I really do like the horse, and to see him stop like that, I thought there must have been something wrong. But it was a bad bleed, was it? So
yeah, it was even in the Stewart's report afterwards. So it was that a little bit worrying as well.
Yeah, of course.
He was my idea as the RSA. I actually didn't fancy him yesterday, but he was my idea of the RSA winner just because I know Mouse will have him absolutely spot on for the RSA, and he likes Cheltenham, but it's just that I don't like horses that bleed.
No, exactly.
Frank, how are you betting on the Champion Hurdle and the RSA?
The Champion Hurdle, we are 7-4 Faugheen, 3-1 Any Power, 5-1 Yanworth, 10-1 Petit Mouchoir, 16-1 York Hill Vroom Vroom Mag, 20-1 The New One and Brain Power, and 25-1 Bar. And the RSA, we are 5-1 Bells Hill, 10-1 Coney Island and Our Duke, 12-1 Might Bite, 14-1 Politologue, 16-1 Disco, 20s York Hill and Alpha des Abo, Bleu Rouge, Champers and Ice, Up for Review, Barney Dwan, Atois Phil, Clandis Abo, Haymount are all 20-1 also, 25-1 Bar.
Frank, on Wednesday, the guests, including David on here and Tom Siegel, dismissed Colin Tizard's chance of being crowned champion trainer, probably quite rightly. But in Ireland, it's a lot closer between Gordon Elliott and Willie Mullins. How are you calling it?
We just had a chat about it this morning, and we're gone 8-15 Willie Mullins versus Gordon 11-8. I just think, looking at what Willie did at Leopardstown and Limerick over the week, he's going to get him primed again for all the spring festivals like Fairyhouse, Punchestown, and even his strike rate's phenomenal in December. While Gordon had a terrific October, November, his strike rate just faltered a little bit December comparative to the other earlier months, and that coincided with Willie starting to bang out the winner. So I think it's going to be very difficult for Gordon to turn it around and stay ahead of Willie, to be honest.
DJ Paul, does this interest you, this sort of market?
I can't say I normally bet on them. I mean, I did get talked into having a small bet on Tizard at a big price earlier in the season, and I wouldn't absolutely say that he's got no hope, because he just seems to be getting better and better horses, doesn't he? And the idea, the fact that Q-Card might go for the Ryanair, I mean, obviously he's got to win it to make any difference. But, I mean, Paul Nicholls does remarkably with the horses he's had over the last few seasons to still be champion trainer, because he hasn't really had any superstars. But his strike rate is ace and his placing is just brilliant. And, he's still the rightful favourite. But it wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world. Really? For me, because obviously Colin Tizard's got other good horses to come out. He's got this Allery that seems to be a real gossip horse at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see.
Mullins and Elliott, is that just too tight a market to interest you?
I can't say I follow it so much over there, so I wouldn't like to offer an opinion.
DJ, you got a view?
I just think the key race actually is going to be the Irish Grand National because it's worth so much money, and that's a handicap. And we've seen with Gordon, who had 6 runners in the Paddy Power, he had 8 runners in the Tri-Town Chase. He could have half the field in the Irish National, so he's got far more handicap chasers towards the top of the handicap than Willie has for that type of race. So if he has, I know Willie will have to put by something for the race, but if Gordon has, just say, perhaps 4 of the first 8 home in the Irish National, that's going to be huge. Like Willie, neither of them have ever won the race, but the fact that Willie has never won it tells you, like he didn't even have a runner in it last year, I don't think, or else he had one runner in it. So that's going to be the key race, I think. It's the richest race in Ireland this season, and Gordon is likely to have a much stronger hand in it than Willie. So, like with that in mind, Gordon is probably the value at the moment at the price he is, but you can see Willie picking up far more grade ones. But I think the Irish Grand National is probably the key race.
Get instant access to your winnings with Cashcard Plus, Paddy's brand new card, available to use at ATMs, online or in shops. T&Cs apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Oh, well, it's a very unusual Saturday with no racing on terrestrial TV. You can pick it up on Racing UK on certain subscription channels, but Channel 4 have bowed out, and ITV have yet to step in until New Year's Day. But it's still a really good day's racing at Newbury, led by the Challow hurdle. Frank, what are the prices you've got there for the Challow?
We are 6-4 Robin Rowe, 130 Baldassar Dallier, 9-2 Mazir des Obeaux, 10-1 Cultivator, 11-1 Elegant Escape, 12-1 Peak to Peak, and 14-1 Bar.
Well, I was at Sandown when Mercedes Oboe won. Okay, had to be rousted along to win the race, but I feel that's kind of a big price, or am I just kind of missing something, Paul?
No, I think you're right. I mean, I think he did. I think he did well. I think obviously Ballyandy's the champion bumper winner. I think it was a good race, and I think he's got a good attitude, and I think he probably just about boasts the best form in the race. There are obviously lots of lightly raced types in here that could find anything, and obviously Robin Rowe was very, very impressive on his debut, and he's actually a year older than Messire des Obeaux with less experience, and he's one of those that could be anything. Harry Skelton seems to think the world of him, but I wouldn't be 6-4, 9-2. It just seems a bit of a big gap. It's funny. I said earlier in the week that I didn't blame Channel 4 for dipping out of Newbury because the Challow is normally sort of very poorly. You get 3 or 4 runners in it and an odds-on favourite. And it's not much of a race, but this year's, it looks like it could be a pretty good competitive race. And I think Messire des Obeaux, 9-2, I was surprised he's as big as that.
David, we had some good winners this in the past. Denman's won it, Wichita Lineman. Maybe it's another year for that kind of horse.
Yeah, it could be. It's a hell of a race. I remember Tackling the Soul actually winning it 1 year. I fancied him. And
I remember Forrest Sun winning it in 1989.
Who?
Forrest Sun.
God.
He won the Supreme Novices hurdle after that.
It looks a high quality renewal. Like when you've horses rated in the 140s already, as novices. If you think Messier des Obeaux was overpriced at 9-2, surely Cultivator is an absolutely huge price at 10-1. He's completely a work in progress because he can be very, very keen, and even as a bumper horse, he always spoiled his chance by being so keen. And the day he won his bumper at Ascot, it was unbelievable that he won, given how keen he was under Barry Geraghty that day. And I liked him earlier on in the season when he won at Ascot, and he went very, very short in running at Sandown against Messier des Obeaux and Ballyandy. And to me, he made an absolute complete hash of the second last, which would have got him a few lengths. I think a flatter track like Newbury is going to suit better than Sandown because his best performance have been at Ascot so far. I know he was third in the bumper at Newbury, but I just think there's so much more improvement in Cultivator, and I think Nicky has suggested as much in all his stable tours. I think if he settles, Noel Feely is riding him for the first time tomorrow. He's a good horse. His form figures might be a little bit in and out. He was obviously third the last day, and he was well beaten in the bumper at Newbury last year. But I think he's a good horse, and I don't think he should be double the price of Messier des Obeaux, given the way that race panned out. And Robin Rowe could be anything, but he's priced up as if he's something special, and I think we need more proof to prove that he's something special. I don't think Cultivator go off at 10-1. I think he could go off at about 5-1.
Sounds like a good betting race. And Paul, you've got one for the Mandarin, haven't you?
It's quite a decent race, the Mandarin. Probably helped by the fact that Doncaster was off. Haydock was off.
Yeah.
And Willoughby Hedge in that race was a non-runner at Doncaster the other day. That's one to look out for because he halved in price overnight. So they're obviously expecting a fair bit better than when he pulled up just over 3 weeks ago. But I quite like Blame It All on My Roots. Was third to Manila Daddy at Ascot on a return. She's I got some decent form last year. I'd like the ground a bit softer, if anything, but I thought that was a really nice return. I'd be surprised if she's only a 1-2-2. I think she's going to keep on improving. And, but it's quite a decent race. Mare keeps winning. He's going to find it an awful lot tougher from down the bottom in this race. But, it's open, but I do like Blame It All on My Roots.
DJ?
No, I have one, though, for earlier on in the card. I don't know whether to come to it yet or
No, you crack on, go on.
Oh, lads, 12:40 Newbury. 12:40 Newbury. Yeah. There is a horse here that, I think we should set up another team tune for This Will Not Be Beaten. I've been waiting for, is it 3 weeks now? For Aqua Dude, trained by Evan Williams. Written in my horse tracker. I'll actually read it out to you.
Go on.
It ran in a novice chase at Newcastle last time over 2 miles, and it jumped brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. Was third to Waiting Patiently, who I think is quite a bit above average for Malcolm Jefferson, and Forrest Bian was second. But I thought it ran such a lovely, lovely race. Written in my horse tracker there is a novice handicap chase at Newbury on New Year's Eve over 2 miles 6. Perfect for Aquadude. I had no idea if he was going to be entered in the race. He was a good novice hurdler last year. He really was. He was 30 Yanworth in a Grade 2 at Ascot. And then he made a mess of his chasing debut actually at Haydock, where he didn't jump well. It was just a mess of a race. It was more like Aquadude. They think the world of him. He's rated 131 over fences, £5 lower than his hurdle mark. He is going to prove himself to be a far better chaser than he is a hurdler. I just got so excited when I seen he was
okay, well, I'm going to Newbury tomorrow, and I want to have a bet on that horse now. If it doesn't win, I'm going to be on the phone to you straight away. Better win. Okay.
This will be a fair price, won't it?
It will be a fair price.
What is it?
I'd imagine Overlack will be fav. I mean, he's run 2.
And it's
right.
It's a good race as well.
Yeah.
Potter's Legend sets a fairly decent standard off 139, but I genuinely think, and this is going to be a bold statement, I would be very surprised if Aquadude is not rated at least 145 by the end of the season. He's off 131 now. This is a proper horse, and I think they think he's a proper horse. And I just love the way they campaigned him. They made the run in the last day at Newcastle over 2 miles. 2 miles. He's not a speed horse. He's a jumper. He's a galloper. He's a good horse, and he's off 131.
It's not the first time we haven't been able to get a word in sideways with you, Dave. But I mean, I think Aurillac sets the standard myself. He was third to Beware the Bear at Ascot. Single farm payment was second. He was then second to Beware the Bear at Newbury. And there's obviously an interesting one. Colin Tizard again got Valhalla. He's sending him over fences. He travels like a dream over hurdles and then doesn't seem to find anything. He looks and moves like a horse that's much better than that mark. He's got to still prove it. So I think it's a tough race, but I'm gonna sit back and watch and
laugh at me.
No, I'm not gonna laugh at you. You're so enthusiastic about it, and I'd imagine he's going to be a price.
What, Frank? Have you got prices on that race?
No, we don't have priced up as yet.
Not priced up yet.
It's going to be about 2-1 now.
No, stop it. What about the Mandarin?
Nah, you won't have priced
up. No, we have no prices.
No prices, just the Challow.
The Challow's the only one we've priced up so far.
Okay. Paul, anything else on the card you want to pick out?
Anything else on the card I want to pick out? Let's just have a look.
What are you thinking? Nicky Henderson's won the last race, the 335, 9 times in the last 10 years. So
has he? What's he got that?
Yeah, William Henry.
He's got 3 of the 7. Yeah, William Henry. Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if Will Guardsman ran a good race for Ali Strong and Noel Feely. Might be a price as well. It's one of those horses that's very, very in and out. But when he's good, he's pretty good, and he travels really strongly. So I'd give him a shot.
He won his reappearance last year as well.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
He's only £3 higher than that race when he beat Ibis Drew. I was actually going to put him up too.
Yeah, that's it. Ibis Drew. Yeah. So you were going to put him up as well, were you?
Yeah. He's one I really liked. Yeah. He should be a decent enough price as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to take us both on there with Geordie Deschamps. Like, he's won his last 4, 129. He was so keen the last time. He jumped desperately, and he still won. I know the form has been let down a little bit since by Wild Magic, but geez, I think Geordie Deschamps, I think the handicapper could have taken a little bit of a chance here off 129.
Come on then, Frank. Tell us what you fancy at Newbury.
Oh, I fancy plenty. At the 210, Nicky Henderson's won the last 2 years of Fixler Cap and Top Notch.
Yeah.
They've bought one from Carl Burke for 160 grand, which is quite an outlay. It was rated 98 in the flat. It was second to To Be Wild, who...
Sorry, what race is this?
The
12,
juvenile
10.
hurdle, Percy
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah. Right, good job,
So second off 97, I think, to To Be Wild at Doncaster, which is a very decent handicap normally. That looks like it's going to be very difficult to beat. Now probably short price, but I think that'll win. William Henry should do the business in the last, considering he was off for 18 months. He gave a great display at Cheltenham, only beating a length. Robin Rose is certain people will get to that in my best bets.
Oh, okay.
I really like Orlac, and I really like Royal Guardsman as well.
Excellent. DJ, anything at Punchestown you want to highlight?
I do indeed, yeah. It is a real interesting card, actually. That 120 is an interesting race. Sure Reef has not ran for 1,070 days. Yeah. And it's quite interesting. The last race he won was a Grade 2 novice hurdle at Leopardstown. And on the same card, Hurricane Fly beat Eric Connor in the Irish Champion Hurdle. Windsor Park, who went on to win the Neptune, won the bumper. So that'll tell you how long ago it was. It was like, Jesus, like if he could come back and win that race, that would be, of all the things Willie Mullins has achieved over Christmas, that would surely top them all. But he has a chance. Monkstown's very disappointing, but he probably should win it. The opening beginner's chase, I actually think Willie will win this as well. It's not a sexy horse of Willie's, but I think Children's List, Willie won it in 2012 with Vesper Bell, and he won it last year with Pleasant Company. And this Children's List is a similar sort of profile. He's not really that good, but this is his level. It's not a particularly good beginner's chase. I think Ballycahan might be able to win at 12.45. And another one of Willie's, David Dunstan will ride Herminator. I still think he's well handicapped off 122. So, yeah, Children's List, Ballycahan, Monksland and Herminator will be my 4 at Punchestown.
Paul, you talk to Warwick. Have you got anything for us?
Yeah. You've got a couple. 140. I'm going in once more on Robin of Locksley. If he doesn't win this time, I will give up on him. He travelled brilliantly and didn't win at Cheltenham the first time when he finished third, and then I really fancied him the next time. Got some fancy prices. He went off a lot shorter. He went round the inner all the way, which was the wrong place to be, and ran no sort of race. He's in a hood and a tongue tie. I don't know whether he's got a breathing problem or what, but I cannot believe he's a 120 horse. So I'll go with him. And then we've got in the 215, we've got Burton's Well, half brother to Burton Port, who I really fancied to win at Haydock today, had it been on. He was second at Sedgefield last time to a winner who bolted up, and he went up £4 for finishing second, but the winner bolted up again from a £13 higher mark. I think, as long as he doesn't bounce, because he'd been off for 18 months before that, he'll win. What else we got there? No. Warwick, just a couple. Bouvier will win. That'll be about 1 to 8. We've got... where are you? Can't find... right, there's a horse that was going to be a massive price called Extreme Impact in the 210. Right, it's an absolute nutter of a horse, and Tommy Dowling's riding it, claiming 6. He's going to have to work so hard, but the horse has become very, very well handicapped, running on the wrong ground. He's got soft ground for the first time in a while, over 3 mile 2 furlong. He needs every single yard of it. He could be 20 lengths behind Turn of a Home, might still win, right, if he decides to put it in. He actually beat St John Henry at this track last year, getting £5. He's now getting £14 off him. So, he's handicapped to win if Charlie Mann can get him back. And Breeden Hill Lad, I think, has been shaping like a winner waiting to happen in the 245.
Would you believe this, Paul? My notes say horses that you talk to in Warwick, 140, give Robin and Loxley one last chance. 210 in Warwick, Extreme Impact.
Extreme Impact, oh yeah.
For the same reason, Charlie Mann, he finally gets his ground. He's going to absolutely have to batter him to get him home. I think he might. Just a couple that you talked to as well. 12.35, I think possibly Dylan will probably take that opening maiden hurdle. And 2.15, I might go against you here. Tarpino, he ran okay in that decent EBF final at Sandown last year, and he looked like the winner of Carlisle before kind of blowing up just after the last. I think he might go all right.
I feel like I'm the third person on a Tinder date here.
And just one more at Punchestown.
You've done it before, haven't you? Yeah.
12:45 Punchestown. I'd keep an eye on Mount Brandon. He was second in the race last year off the same mark, beaten half a length. Robert Tyner had a good winner.
He has, Frank.
Oh, but come here. Look at the connections.
PPP.
PPP1.
P stands for pissed up, doesn't it? Is that right?
Get instant access to your winnings with Cashcard Plus, Paddy's brand new card, available to use at ATMs, online or in shops. T&Cs apply. 18 plus. Gambleware.co.uk.
Welcome back to the Postcast with me, Mark Story. I'm here with Frank Hickey from Paddy Power and the Racing Post's very own Paul Keeley and David Jennings. Now, Sunday's a special day for ITV. They're back broadcasting racing, and they're at a very good meeting at Cheltenham, that cracker on New Year's Day. Let's kick off with the Dipper. Paul, it's a small field, but a good one.
Yeah, it is a very, very good race. Clanders Oboe absolutely bolted up at Newbury last time. I don't know whether he's going to turn into one of these Nichols horses that has to, needs a flat galloping track or not, but he was really, really impressive. And then you've got Whisper, who didn't take the chasing when he first tried it, but jumped really well and was really, really well backed when he won here last time. And he was bordering on a 170 horse over hurdles at one stage in his life. I think his highest rating was 167 or something. He's 10. Well, he's 9. Sorry, he turns 9 on Sunday. So he's a bit long in the tooth to be going novice chasing, but he's very decent. And then you got this Briary Bell, who I think she was in a listed chase the other day and was pulled out as well. She's got some decent form, and she's a strong stayer. I find it a hard race. I probably won't be having a bet in it. I'd like to see Clanders Oboe do it at a course like Cheltenham.
Yeah. DJ?
Yeah, it's funny. Every so often, I get the urge to tweet about a horse. I put my neck on the line. I've done it twice in the last 2 months.
They've both won, haven't they?
And both of them have actually won. It was Capitan in the Grade 2 hurdle at Ascot, who I couldn't believe was the price he was. He was 10-1. And the other one, would you believe, was Clanders Oboe when he won at Newbury. And I actually think I put up that 4-1. He was priced up the night before. 92 was a huge price. He went off 5-2, and he duly bolted up. I just absolutely love Clanders Oboe. I would nearly dump Aoife for Clanders Oboe. He is just the most gorgeous horse. His jumping actually reminded me of Duvan's jumping when he won at Newbury. It was just effortless. Every time he got to a fence, he was on the perfect stride, and Sean Bowen didn't even have to do anything to get him on the perfect stride. It was just all effortless. Now, as Paul said, he has to go and do it now. That was a race that probably fell apart a little bit. He was mightily impressive, but he has to go and do it, and this is where he has to do it. He's probably not one to be taking a short price about, because it's all promise rather than stuff he's done already. So I just think he has the makings of an absolute smashing horse. I could see him running the Gold Cup someday. He just needs to go and do it. I won't be backing him because he'd probably be a short price.
Yeah.
Will he be that short?
He'll be.
There's some good horses.
He'll be 6-4 short.
I'd take him on if he was that short.
Yeah, he will be that short.
I think it's quite a tight little race apart from the bottom one.
Frank, have you got prices and a view on the race as well?
We haven't priced up just yet.
No.
I do have a view. Clanders Oboe will win this, I think. You couldn't just be blown away by him at Newbury. And while the race kind of fell apart, I think Whisper's race kind of wasn't the strongest either. Baron Dalco was giving him, was it £5 or £7 the last day? And I'd say he's a very good handicapper at best. 07 was disappointing at Doncaster. Getting the £5, I think Clanders Oboe will be very difficult to beat. And you can see him being a big contender for the JLT.
Yeah, I was actually stood by the last fence at Newbury. I like to go over for that meeting and go over to the other fence on the far side, and I saw him come over that, and I wouldn't argue with your assessments from just what I saw there. But the 2 o'clock at Cheltenham, Frank, the Festival Betting Handicap Chase, what's your take on that with Village Vic in there? Very intriguing runner.
Yeah, a lot of these have been running against each other, and Village Vic might prefer a small bit softer than what it's going to be. It's good at the moment. I don't think there's much rain forecast. I don't know, do you have anything on the weather front there?
I had a look earlier on this morning. They said maybe 3 to 6 mil either morning or afternoon on Sunday. So, but certainly none before. So whether it'll get in, but we know how quickly it gets in there, don't we?
Yeah. Just when I was looking through the race, I thought obviously As to Me was very impressive at Aintree, but that might just be his track.
Yeah, he's not always done it at Cheltenham, has he?
No. I know he was second once to more of that, but how strong was that for him? I'd give one a squeak at a massive price potentially. I'm probably being a bit stupid here, even tipping him up. But Thomas Crapper.
Don't say
Don't say that.
That's mine.
No.
Thomas Crapper ran okay in sixth in the Bet Victor Gold Cup, and thank God he went first here.
God,
And he's off 10 stone, bang on 10 stone here on 133. He got dropped a pound for that run. The ground is more in his favour here, and I think he can go well at a big price. David, who do you fancy?
Oh, Lord. Look, actually, I actually think As to me is the most likely winner. And I know you said about him not liking Cheltenham, but I said it before in the postcast. In that Bet Victor Gold Cup, anything that could have went wrong did go wrong. He ran up the arse with so many horses jumping fences, and I still think off 145 that he could have about £4 or £5 in hand. But at the prices, which might be shorter now since two fine judges like myself and Frank are going to tip him up. Thomas Crapper off 133. He absolutely loves Cheltenham. He loves these type of races. I thought he ran really well in the Bet Victor Gold Cup, to be honest with you. 33 to 1 that day. He had to kind of be switched after the third last, if you remember. And he actually looked like he was going to finish a lot closer than he did. He was beaten 15 lengths. But he's been dropped a pound and he finished sixth. I think everything is in his favour, to be honest with you. I'd be surprised if he didn't finish in the first three, and he's likely to be about 16 to 1. I think As to me will probably win, but I think Thomas Crapper, the price is definitely going to be in the shake-up.
You on the Crapper too, Paul?
Well, yeah, I spent my life on the Crapper, mate. I mean, he's won two handicap hurdles on the old course at Cheltenham. He's been second at the Cheltenham Festival on both the new and the old course. Second at Don Poli over hurdles, second at Irish Cavalier in the novice handicap chase. All on decent ground, and the ground is going to be better than when he was sixth in the Paddy Power. I think if he's ever going to win a big race at Cheltenham, it's going to be on Sunday. I give him a big chance. I don't necessarily agree about Asdemi being most likely winner. I think the most likely winner is probably Quite by Chance, who I thought was unlucky in the Caspian Caviar. And you know, if he hadn't have made a mistake at the wrong time, he'd have gone very, a lot closer than he did. But I think that'll be reflected in the market too. I don't know what to make of Vaneteur anymore. I thought he might have, developed into some sort of danger to Duvan, but I think my original opinion of him that he was a bit doggy was probably more right than wrong. I'll go with Thomas Crapper each way. He's got to be the value.
3 mile handicap hurdle next.
3 mile handicap hurdle. Yeah, I keep looking at Fingal Bay and thinking he's got to bounce back at some stage, but his running's been so bad lately. So I'm actually going to give this race a miss. I couldn't make head nor tail of it, to be honest.
DJ?
Sorry, I just had a piece of brown bread there. I thought Paul was going to talk for longer.
There you go.
It's funny, I've written down here, I fancy 5 horses, four of them quite strongly at Cheltenham, but none of them in this race. Do you want me to go through the others?
What, the others at Cheltenham? In a minute.
Yeah.
Let's go to Frank first.
Okay.
Frank, you got something in this on telly?
Call to Order has to win, I think, doesn't he? He won very easily the last day. You call him the winner a long way out, and he got, was it £7 only? I think carrying 10.9. I think he'll be very difficult to beat.
Okay, Frank, I'll stay with you for the Rail Keel and any other views on Cheltenham.
The Rail Keel, well, he doesn't win often, but you have to say Little Rockefeller always gives us running, doesn't he? And I know last year, I think he was he second to Camping Ground last year? But the ground was heavy that day, which would have suited Camping Ground. I know the ground was going to be good, possibly good to soft come Sunday. I just think he's the most solid in a race where Culharden probably isn't the most reliable anymore, and Lammy Surge isn't one either you'd be relying on. So Little Rockefeller, I think, is the most solid option. The Rail Keel. I thought Arpège de Laine is running off 140 in the 12.50, the handicap chase. Mm-hmm. He was second in the Pertemps off 146. And he ran okay the last day. I know you might have thought it was disappointing beaten by single farm payment, but I think 140 is a very lenient mark. I think he has to go well. And I would give Minotaur a squeak in the 12.15. I think there's doubts about a lot of the ones that have won already. They've not been the most reliable. And he was second at Aintree behind a well-touted horse called Charlemare. But he's going to be getting upwards of £10 off some of these, and I think he'll go well. He might be an each-way price as well.
Paul, how do you see the Rail Keel being run?
I'm absolutely with Frank. I think, not only is he the most likely to run a race, but it's a horse that deserves to win more than any other. Little Rockefeller just puts it all in all the time, and no, the others just don't 100% good. Lammy Surge is coming back because he jumped terribly over fences. Cole Hard jumped terribly over fences last time. I mean, they might come back. Camping Ground on soft ground. Old Guard seems to have gone at the game. Others don't really look good enough. I think Protect the Flow will be a big improver, but he's rated £23 below Little Rockefeller, so he's got to be a big improver very quickly. So I'd say Little Rockefeller for that.
Anything else?
Yeah. Opening race. I thought Poetic Rhythm ran a really, really nice race on a debut over hurdles. She was a fair way behind Pingshoe in the end. I think beating 8 lengths. But she's a point winner, and she's going to absolutely relish to step up and trip. And if you watched her bumpers, particularly the second one of them at Cheltenham, she's got a really good attitude. Really sticks her neck out. So I think she might improve past a few of those and get in the frame at least at a decent price. Definitely with Frank in the 12.50, Arpeggio Lane I think is an absolute certainty. I really, really do like Single Farm Payment, who he was second to last time. I think the extra distance is going to suit. Paul Nicholls obviously had him in the Welsh National, but said he wants better ground. We're going to go to Cheltenham with him. They're talking about the 4 mile. They're talking about the Scottish National, and I think 140 just badly underestimates him. And
you got the bumper as well.
We've got the bumper. I don't think I've got anything in the bumper. No, I haven't looked at the bumper. None of them, none of them have run that much.
No.
Yeah, Fergal Bryan's one's interesting there, isn't it? Just on his strike rate this year.
Oh God, yeah.
He's at 28% in bumpers this year, which is phenomenal for a year like that. And that Capsule didn't come off the bumper when winning on debut. Now it's a tougher race, but she gets the weight, and she might be interesting.
What are you backing, DJ?
Oh, this is going to make or break my 2017, I think, to be honest with you. It's one of these weekends where Friday morning the decks come out between just say 10:30 and 11:30 in Ireland and England, and it's just every single horse that I've been waiting on seems to be running. As Frank said, Minotaur in the first race loved its first run at Aintree, and those that have won haven't really overwhelmed me. So I think Minotaur will be very interesting in that opener. Yeah. I think the best handicap chaser in England, who I've said already, runs in the 12.50, and that's the hugely how would you describe? I don't know what word you use to describe him. Is Dr. Harper. Look, the thing about Dr. Harper is he's extremely well handicapped off 136, but he's had so many problems. I thought he was beaten 29 lengths in that race at the open meeting, that 3 mile 3 handicap chase. But if you stop the race at the top of the hill, now I know the winning post isn't at the top of the hill, but if it was at the top of the hill, he was travelling all over everything, and he lost 2 shoes, and his feet were in absolute bits. I said going into that race that I thought he was hugely well handicapped up 138. He's been dropped £2 to 136. He was due to run at Haydock today, which I thought he was an absolute good thing for a flat track, because I think he might be a flat track horse, but it was obviously called off and they have to run here. I think he's going to be a very big price, and I think he's seriously well handicapped. I think he could have a stone in hand when things fall right. It's just a case of getting things to fall right. So I'm going to give Dr. Harper another chance in the 12.50. We spoke about Clandazobo. In the Relkeel hurdle, lads, Lammy Surge wins this. I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest. If you go back through his novice hurdle form, when you actually look at it, you'll be staggered. He beat Kalulta Vic, who beat Thistlecrack at Punchestown by 7 lengths in the Grade 2 at Ascot. He went on and beat Jolly's Cracked It by 14 lengths at Sandown. He was 7-2 for the Supreme Novice Hurdle won by Duvan, where everything went wrong and he was still only 4th. He beat Dr. Harper, who I mentioned earlier, then obviously over fences by 27 lengths. He was 3rd in the JLT, getting to the front too early. I can see why he's gone back over hurdles, because there's just so many good chasers around at the moment, and there's none of these type of kind of Grade 2, almost Grade 1 hurdlers around at the minute. There's none of them if you go through the race. He's the best horse in the race. He's rated 152. I know it says that he's got £8 to find on Little Rockefeller, but I don't think he's got the chance to prove that he can be an even better hurdler. I think this is a very shrewd move going back over hurdles, and I think Lammy Surge will win.
Excellent. Anything else at Musselburgh, DJ? Have we looked at that yet?
No, the only other horse I fancy in England on Sunday is Theo's Charm in the 3 o'clock at Exeter. Okay,
Paul?
I did originally quite like Pano Chocolat at Musselburgh, but the ground has dried out now. They got showers forecast. If it gets a bit softer, then I think he'll take the well to beating. I think he'll be favourite. If it stays good ground, I'll be inclined to take him on, because all his best form is on soft and heavy. But I do like him overall. I couldn't get that. In fact, I'm fascinated by Superb Story, the county hurdle winner. But I don't know whether you can back him because he was just so bad at Galway when he last ran. I don't know what went wrong there. I think I'm just going to focus on Cheltenham, to be honest.
Okay, Frank, anything else?
The 105 Musselburgh. Now this one's form figures are similar enough to Mount Brandon. If you look at it, 6P, P, 5 and an F. But St John's Point was well fancied the last day at Taunton, and it fell, was it 2 or 3 out when travelling well?
Yeah.
I think that'll go well in the 105. I think Superb Story is obviously very interesting. In the 250, they're talking about sending it towards the champion hurdle, so it really should be winning off 145 up there. And in the 215, Big River was off for quite a bit before making its reappearance at Kelson, was beaten behind Coolbranca, but it absolutely hacked up at Ayr the next time. And I think 128, Grand Cockburn takes 3 off. I think there's plenty more to come from him. I think he'll go well in the 215. And a Fairy House put up 2 a couple of weeks ago. He got £7. They're stepping him up to 3 miles. I think he might go in again.
Okay, chaps, now for the moment of truth. It's time for the best bet on Sunday.
If he doesn't win, I will be absolutely staggered. I think it's a stone cold certainty.
Well, Paul, follow that.
Yeah, well, I think we've probably tipped about 48 horses between us, haven't we? But I am going to say Arpège de Laine. I think he's fantastically well handicapped off 140 in the 1250 at Cheltenham.
Frank?
I'm going to give 2, if that's okay. Call to Order in the 235. I think £7 is lenient. And go back to Saturday, Robin Rowe is a steering job.
A steering job.
And I'll tell you why quickly. He beat No Comment by 15 lengths at Aintree. And to be fair, Barry stopped riding No Comment once he was beat. But when you look at it, they jumped the last upsides, and in about 10 strides, he was 5 lengths clear. Now, No Comment beat Monalea in a bumper at Punchestown. Monalea was second to Death Duty. Invitation Only was third. They're all in around the same price for the Neptune. Now, I'm murder for having per multi-bets for Cheltenham early, but I rarely have a single. I can tell you I've had a single in Robin Rowe last week.
Wow.
This wins.
DJ, come on, follow that one.
Well, this is unbelievable, right? We've probably done the podcast for 52 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
52 weeks, and every one of them 52 weeks it was Saturday's best bet, Saturday. And then all of a sudden, when I have my strongest fancy the whole year on a Saturday, it turns into Sunday's best bet.
Give us Saturday and Sunday. Go on.
Which is unbelievable. Oh, Aquitude, lads. Aquitude. I cannot wait to come on and talk on Monday, hopefully on the review podcast, where you can be telling me, lads, fair play to you, David, for picking out Aquitude. So Aquitude in the, what time is it? Aquitude in the 12:40 at Newbury on Saturday.
Hurry up, come on.
And then Sunday I'm going to go for Lammy Surge in the Relkeel Hurdle at 3:10.
Oh, brave. Okay, thank you. Excellent. Well, that's all from us now. We've had a great chat here. Lots of tips, as Paul said. I think it's 53 altogether. So listen in again on Monday for our review show. See you later.
The Race and Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They prize support UK and Irish racing the night before.